Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first episode of Simplified and the first of the lecture series for the Singapore Introductory Moving Program 2023. So I'm Greg. Most of you, well, I don't know how many of you are returning to the program and how many of you are new. But as a brief introduction, I founded this program in 2020 while I was still in my undergraduate of law school. Now I'm doing my master's at New York University and LLM in international business regulation, litigation, and arbitration under Professor Franco Ferrari. So more on that, perhaps if you want to talk about it during the mood, when I fly back, can have a chat about it in person. It'd be great. But more on today's agenda. As some of you have probably noticed by now, SIMP 2023 has a open and closed format. So the open format is something more advanced, where you have all the research, all the case law, everything you want to use for the moot open to you. The closed mode is how we usually do it. We have a set reading list and you can only cite cases from the reading list. So think about the open mode as a bit more of a challenge, but also you have more opportunities to showcase yourself and showcase your research abilities and your knowledge of the subject matter. But just to keep things fair, I suppose, Today I'll be going through how to do legal research, what resources to find, what resources are available to you, especially those behind a paywall. As I'm sure some of you or most of you are familiar with, the general thing that law students use, we have Westlaw in the UK, we have LexisNexis in Australia, we have LawNet in Singapore. But these legal databases, while they are very wide, very diverse, they are also stuck behind paywalls, which is unfortunate and not in the whole realm of accessibility, which we are promoting. So that's where we are today. I was asked to give you an overview of how to do research and what you have available for you. So let's get straight into it. So the first thing that I have to draw your attention to is the Singapore Statutes Online page, the SSO. So sso.agc.gov.sg. So this is where you find all the statutes, the full text, anything you want. Let's take, for instance, what's in the problem? The Misuse of Drugs Act. So we just search it up, let it load a bit. And there we go, the Misuse of Drugs Act 1973. So this is how you find the legislation. Just search however you want. You can find the table of contents, just click, say, Article 5, trafficking. Can go all the way down to the first schedule and controlled drugs, the second schedule, the third schedule, everything is in here. SSO does it in a way that if you use the table of contents, and you click, like, say, section 53, the jurisdiction of courts, you only get that section. So as you can see here, this is just the part 7. So this is section 53, 54, 55, and so on and so forth, all the way up to 59. So they open by parts. And because of that, some people have some difficulties, I guess, using Command F to find things, or cross-referencing becomes very annoying. Say, for instance, in section 58, authorizing the dissemination of information on the carrying out of any activity mentioned in section 11D1, and then you have to go all the way here and click section 11D just to get 11D1 again, and then you lose this page. So just getting around that, just click whole document, down here in the bottom left, and you get the whole document, lack of a better word. Of course, the file is huge, but it's the entire statutory provision. So that's how you get the statutes. Whatever you need, it's all on the Singapore Statutes Online website. To download it, click this, and you can download it. The small PDF icon here next to the title. Cool. Next, we have the parliamentary reports, the Hansard reports. So what are parliamentary reports? So these are things that come up in discussion when Parliament is preparing the documents. So let's just have a look at the Hansard reports in Singapore. They can be accessed on the parliament.gov website, parliament.gov.sg, or you can just do what I did before this and just Google Hansard Singapore, and you get it here. That's quite literally what I did. Anyway, so back to here. So maybe we can search Misuse of Drugs Act by keyword. Just search it up. Of course, you can change the parameters around here and date range, etc., etc. So you can see what results come out. We'll just have a look at it. So this is the transcript here. Mr. Minister of State for Home Affairs speaks. Move the bill will be read a second time, etc., etc. And this is how you find out parliamentary intention behind the statute. It's always worth exploring what was in the mind of Parliament when they were drafting the statute, why certain language was used, why certain words were used, or perhaps why certain words were not used. And this is also important for statutory interpretation of these documents because, well, if you know what they intended to do, if you know what Parliament intended or how they intended the statute to be read, then you can read it consistently, I guess. It should help in your interpretation. So here they talk about the rise in the new threat, new psychoactive substances, blah, 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 and what the plan is for the first schedule. Only when it is listed in the first schedule can a person who is found trafficking, and how these amendments tackle this new problem of NPS, a new NPS, I guess. But yeah, that's the Hansard report, and that's how you access it. It's very important when learning how to read statutes and learning to interpret statutes. The UK also uses Hansard reports, so it's the same thing. Just Google hansard.parliament.uk. I guess they have it slightly better organized. It's all here. Just go and browse settings or even just find debates, and you should be able to find what you need. Perfect. Keep in mind here, I will say this once again, I am only going through the free resources, those that you can access just by browsing the web. I'm not going through anything paid, I guess. So I will not be teaching you how to use LawNet, Westlaw, Lexis, etc. Anyway, on to case law. So the biggest thing, I guess, that LawNet has and all these databases has is their access to case law. And for a long time, I was under the impression that, hey, I was like all of you, hey, we need Westlaw. We need to use this paid database to get case law. Well, that's not the case. We have this beautiful website, elitigation.sg, where you can find anything you want. So say you want to find a case about comity. Right? How is comity applied in Singapore? Go on e-litigation, search up the word comity, and you can find all the cases here. So this is the full decision by Andrew Pang Boon Leong JCA, background, etc. And it's the exact same thing that you would find on LawNet. Or maybe you want to find drugs. Well, don't go on e-litigation looking for drugs, but case law about drugs. Just put in drugs, same thing, it's just up here. And you get all the cases that deals with drug-related offenses. So 2023 SG High Court 95. We have PP and Liu Song and another. And it's all here. This is exactly the same thing that you would see on LawNet. LawNet does have the hit notes, but you're not supposed to cite them anyway. And it's also equally important to read the full case. So that's how you deal with, or that's how you find Singapore case law. I will move on now to British case law, the United Kingdom. Bailey.org, BAILII.org, the British and Irish Legal Information Institute. It's like whatever you need. It's a case law database. You can perhaps search, I don't know, you can search international law. And you get the resources they have. If you want to look maybe specifically for cases, let's not use international law. Let's use what's a fun one? Why can't I think of any? Offer and acceptance in contract law. So here we have some cases. This is the UK Asylum and Immigration Tribunal. They even highlight the words that you've searched. So a student who has been accepted on a course has a conditional offer. Blah, blah. So this is the decision of the Asylum and Immigration Tribunal. Yeah, let's maybe Basfar Wong. Yeah, so you can put in the case name also, Basfar and Wong. You get the full judgment here. Exactly the same thing you'd see on Westlaw. With some strange editing, I guess. But yeah. Let's jump to maybe use comity again. Do one more. So you have Warrington Borough Council and TN Care Proceedings Committee, the High Court, I believe. Oh, the Family Court. Yes. So you just get the whole judgment here. Your word that you searched for is highlighted, and it says committee. The good thing about Bailey is that you can see all the world law resources. So Australasia has AusLII, Canada has CanLII, Cyprus Silo, Germany has one, Hong Kong, Ireland, Italy, Kenya, New Zealand. Philippines has, I'm sorry, Singapore has this on Common LII. I will admit I have never used it before because I just use e-litigation. But it's the same thing. So say if you click Hong Kong LII, HKLII, you get the same thing. You can search the recent case of C&D 2022 if it would come up. Oh, there is a decision here, I guess. C&D. The leave to appeal case. The Court of Appeal C&D. I suppose if HKLII does not have the case you are looking for, like how I searched for C&D and it didn't come up, you can always go to the court website. So HKFCA, the Hong Kong Final Court of Appeal. You can go on here and you can go to, where is it? Decided cases. Decided cases, look at recent judgments and you can see what happened recently. So the case I was looking for should be somewhere here. I've just used it as an example. But yeah, even they point you back to HKLII. So anyway, same thing here, Canadian LII. this is something else. I will explain it in a bit. Same thing here, CALII, I'm sorry, Canadian LII. You can find Canadian case law. And then there was New Zealand LII, I believe, on Bailey. Yeah, New Zealand LII, NZ LII, you can find whatever you need. Perfect. So now we go on to these things, right? Why did I leave them out here? So first, court listener. Court listener is mainly for the United States case law because they don't have a LII thing. So maybe you can search. I'm not too familiar with American case law. I'll admit my master's is in international law, but we can search maybe. We can search contract law, sure. And here we have some U.S. case law, James versus travel contracting. In the U.S., they say versus. See here, Metro Industrial Painting Corp. and Max Gerben, blah, 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 versus Terminal Construction Co. Inc., blah, blah, cited by 125 opinions. Actually, I think I will go through that. So, cited by how many opinions is something that LawNet has and Westlaw also has. It's good to look for cases where a certain topic has been mentioned. So because Comity's been on my mind lately, I've been doing some research on it. Just going to use it. So I'm just going to throw in Comity and please. While this loads, yes, I also put this link in labguides.bodelian.ox.ac.uk. It shows you some other resources. Anyway, it's taking a while. It's taking a while. Please don't crash on me. Maybe I use this. I click this. Yeah, Cornell also has their own legal the LII site for the US case law. So that's why I had it out here. You can find most things on it, state regulations for all 50 states, Congressional Research Service, blah, blah, blah. Constitution, US Code, Supreme Court decisions, Uniform Commercial Codes, and various topics here. Now, yes. Anyway, back to court listener. So you search Comity and say you are researching. Oh wow! Say you're researching this, right? Priggen, Pennsylvania. Say it's a very good case for your case theory. You cite it. You're like, okay, it's a good case to follow. But then you ask yourself, how has the courts followed it? How has it been used by the courts? Do the courts like it? Because I mean, it was an 1842 case, and the law has arguably changed since then. So we got to see if it's still treated with approval as it was decided in 1842. It can still be used today. So that's when you use cited by opinions. So cited by opinions is basically you see how the case has been used. So 125 other judgments cite Priggen, Pennsylvania. So maybe we look at the most recent one, 1983. So 1983, Briscoe versus LaHue. And what happened? So convicted person to assert a claim for damage. Okay, but importantly, how was Priggen, Pennsylvania used? So we just copy and paste it. Prig. So Prig was used in a way that Prig was cited as an example for this proposition that as between a smattering of state court opinions and the extended, well-reasoned analysis of a unanimous Supreme Court, the latter would have commanded the attention of members of the 42nd Congress. So the case friggin' Pennsylvania, the original case that we found when we searched for comity, was used as an example 100 years later. So that's a good thing. And that's also how, I guess, you use research. And you can do that also on e-litigation. So say on preconditions, this is the last point, I promise you. So just because I'm familiar with this right now, preconditions to arbitration. So this case, International Research Corp and Lufthansa Systems. So we put this in here. Say you really want to cite IRC and Lufthansa. And you put it in here and you see, oh, okay, in 2019 it was cited. The Singaporean courts have time and time again cautioned against the creativity of the, where is it? Lufthansa. Here it is. Was used in paragraph 109. The Google preview thing was wrong. He submitted that compliance with mandatory steps is a precondition, blah, 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 following Lufthansa. So counsel used this as argument. So what did the court say about it? Well, I don't think they said much, if I were to be honest. But yeah, that's an example, I guess, of how to check and cross-reference that an older case is still relevant as law today. And that's very important, especially in practice, or especially when you're making submissions to understand and to know how the authority that you are citing is used. And I suppose that's the basics of legal research and what I wanted to cover today. It's a lot of checking, a lot of being thorough. And yeah, with that, I think that is all from me today. I hope to see all of you at the Moot this year, whether in the closed or open category. It would be great to see more of you in the open category. Always good to challenge yourself, of course. But nonetheless, I hope you have a great time. And yeah, take it from me that the Moot is a great way and a great gateway to seeing what legal studies is really like. Well, thanks for watching, I guess. Take care.